Business Aviation Conference and Expo in lovely Las Vegas. And I have with us Josh Olds, the president and CEO of USI, formerly Unmanned Safety Institute, our sponsor today. And we are live at their booth, which is what, GL6? Okay,
Perfect.
got it.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, Josh, tell everybody hello.
How are you? It's good to be with you today.
All right, Josh, USI is here at a business aviation conference. Why?
USI serves the aviation market, national business aviation. A lot of drone technology is utilized as part of business aviation within corporations. So we've actually been at this event as long as we've been in existence. So this is probably our 9th year. This
really?
is a big event for us.
Wow. Okay. So what are you excited to see here?
So I'm most excited about the innovation zone this year. I actually sit on the emerging tech committee for NBAA, and a big focus is how corporate flight departments and aviation groups are utilizing emerging technology within their flight departments or alongside their flight departments. So I'm excited about the technology focus and about the shift, I think, in mentality of companies looking at drone technology, emerging technology as part of their future vision as flight departments are expanding.
It's so fun. First of all, I didn't think about the use of drones like in flight departments, but it makes sense. Whether it's like checking out the runways for FOD, right? The foreign object.
It's crazy because every industry cluster has a use case for drone technology. So if you think about drone tech from a business perspective, you have a lot of different industry clusters that utilize aviation. They have corporate flight departments. Well, we're now finding new industry clusters that have traditionally not had aviation assets that are now deploying drones as registered FAA aircraft. So they've become aviation assets as part of corporations that never had a corporate flight department. So this is a great event to start having those conversations because it's new to a lot of people.
I think it's amazing. You know what also I think is amazing, Josh? And by the way, everybody, check out I think it's going to be Sunday, my reel. I'll have a whole bunch of pictures from this show that I'll be putting out on social. But a lot of the signage has drones, like drones. I mean, it's like NBAA picture of a drone. And I'm like, what?
It's taken years to get to this
I know.
point, so
I mean, this is huge,
exciting.
right?
Yeah.
Is this the first year where they had pictures of drones on stuff everywhere?
Maybe not. Yeah, actually,
like
just
pervasive.
The mass amount of focus on innovation and emerging technology. I would say it's one of the first years. They had an innovation zone last year in Orlando,
yeah.
But this year it's massive. It wraps around the whole lobby. They've made it a focal point, which is exciting because it shows their emphasis on the fact that they recognize emerging technology as the future of aviation, and it's going to change the face of aviation, just like the jet engine did. So it's exciting. I'm an aviation nerd, so it's drawn the line.
He is, by the way. Josh has been a great friend to the Donna drones, to the full crew, all of it. So go back on my YouTube channel and check out some of the shows with Josh and USI. Josh, what else? What else do you want to talk about before we grab Tony Drummond from Prestige Air Group?
No, I think coming out of the show this week, I think it's going to be really interesting. Again, in the booth, we've got, Phoenix Air Unmanned has their Part 91 exemption, which I think is really exciting because it's not just Part 107 anymore. It's expanding into the 91 exemption with the Swiss drone. And so a lot of expanded operations, which is the whole reason we're in this business, is the focus of complex aviation assets being utilized inside of the national airspace. So it's going to be really exciting to see some of the new announcements coming out of the show and where a lot of the aviation manufacturers are at with their emerging technology that they've been developing for the last probably decade.
Awesome. By the way, everybody, we are live. So if you've got comments, questions, fire away. We got Pietro Lapiana coming at us live from Italy, creators of the Beluga drone. Hey, Pietro, great to see you out there. Thanks for chiming in. Josh, thank you so much. Thanks for letting us hijack your booth and basically do this live stream. So appreciate you.
No, thanks for having us.
Awesome. All right, next up, Tony Drummond. Tony Drummond, Prestige Air Group right now, and you guys have your own booth.
We do. We have. This is my actual fun industry trade show because general aviation is my real, if you want to say my career for all these years.
Yeah.
So yeah, today we have multiple things going on, but one of my companies, which is a new startup AI company, is here. Brain Trust. We're at C9922.
Brain Trust.
That's a new
A
one.
new. I can't keep up with her. Everybody.
This has been going on in the background. These are companies that have been in works for a very, very long time. Projects that have been in works, and we're finally just starting to introduce them little by little.
And this AI company is focused on business aviation in particular.
Well, it's business aviation, but it's more it's solutions. We're looking at solutions for emerging aviation as well. A lot of what we're developing, we're testing out on our own fleet, and then we're going to be moving that into UAS and also AAM solutions, especially when it comes to insurance and risk management. A lot of things that we already know that we're going to need, we're starting to put that into effect. So it's been fun.
Speaking of advanced air mobility, Tony.
Yes.
You've been coming to this show for a long time.
I
Like
have.
this is your world, right?
Yes.
You've grown up in this community.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what I perceive, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. My perception, being the first time ever here, is that this community is actually embracing AAM.
You see my eyes wide.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like so many years. You know, I've talked to you about.
Yeah,
this
I
from
know.
When we first started in 2020, when I first started my first drone business. You know, getting the intersection of general aviation to understand that this sustainable aviation, whether we're using drones, whether we're using eVTOL, electric aircraft, this is part of our future. It's been a minute. It's taken us some time to really integrate in, and we have a lot of aviators that are working on this side. I'm part of the emerging tech committee here at NBAA, and we have a big group of us that have been working all year just to invite the Whisks and the Electra Aeros and all the other companies that are here exhibiting this year, to have them in and have them feel welcome, and to see people walking by, the same people that were like, this will never happen.
Right.
I love when that happens, and they walk by and they're like, there's our electric vehicle on display. It's just, I can't describe it.
It is. Whisk has their is it their Cora that already flew at Oshkosh?
Yes.
Like on the floor.
There's a Volt Aero has a demonstrator here too, which I'm not even super familiar
I'm
with.
going in it. I'm going in it. I saw that,
Can't
and
wait to see it.
there's another one that was flying actually.
Oh my God.
That's the
Volocopter.
Volocopter is actually doing test
We're gonna
flights.
go Henderson. We're gonna see
Thursday.
that live on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
wait
and
for
we've
that.
got Over Air here. He's going to be up next, so we'll talk more with them about all the amazing things they're doing. By the way, everybody, Manuel Quillo's out there, Speedbird Aero. We love you, Manuel. Manuel's coming to us either from Miami or Brazil. I'm not sure right now where he is, but we love everything he's doing. And by the way, Manuel, I did visit Embraer. They do not have Eve Air Mobility here. That's their AAM
Maybe
branch.
next year.
I'm hoping next year,
We're
like,
getting
you know,
closer
tell
every
them
year, yeah.
they got to come. Yeah. And Michael Thompson is saying fantastic work. Keep it up. So amazing. So Tony,
Yes.
what else? We got to keep rolling here.
Okay,
like,
so NBAA, a couple things you want to see. We have 2 huge show floors here.
yes.
So lots of GA products, lots of
General aviation, for those that don't
products,
know.
Sorry. But we also do have the emerging tech zone, which Dawn and I are sitting in. And then another thing, you definitely want to head over to Henderson Airport. There's a static display. You can take a bus. They have lots of shuttles going back and forth. You want to see what's going on in GA and general aviation. You want to see the jets that are on display. It's very cool.
And
Make your way over there.
helicopters.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, you can pay a couple bucks and hop on a Blade helicopter and
That's
fly
right.
from here to Henderson. So there's that.
Blade's doing their little shuttles.
They
back
are.
and forth. So we're really excited to usher it in. Please find us on the show floor. My entire team's here. Samantha, Monica, Justine, even my daughter Brenna's here. Everybody's here. So please find us on the floor. Reach out to us. We're happy to chat about anything that you want to talk about. Drones, AM, regular aircraft. We're here.
What's your booth number?
C9922 is where we're going to be hanging out.
Okay, so if you're local, come on down. And if not, just keep listening, because we're going to tell you a little bit more about what we've seen. So thank you so much, Tony.
Always awesome.
Yay.
See you later.
All right, let's get over here. We've got Gonzalo here. Gonzalo Ramos is from Over Air. So Gonzalo, tell us what Over Air is doing.
So Over Air is a company that was it's a spin-off from a company called Karim Aircraft. And so we have brought in a lot of technology that was developed for the military, that was matured by our founders for the last couple of decades, and we brought it into the AAM space. So we're developing an advanced air mobility platform called Butterfly. This platform is one that has a very differentiated propulsion technology. We are very different to some of the other designs in that we have very large rotors that spin very slowly.
Yeah.
So they are much more efficient when it comes to propulsion. We use less energy than in hover and also in forward flight. And we also, because we spin them very slowly, we actually are much quieter. And we think that being quiet is one of the most important aspects of AAM, being able to be integrated into the communities um, in urban cities.
You know, it is, to be sure. No, noise is a big concern, I think, from the standpoint of the public. And I met some of your team, Gonzalo, at the AAM Summit in Baltimore that the FAA and AVSI kind of jointly put on back in August. And I was really impressed, like, with your team and what you guys are doing. So you're here now at NBAA BACE. You're an emerging technology. How are you feeling with regards to this business aviation community and kind of where you guys fit into it? Like, are you feeling welcome as a welcome new member of this, or how is that going?
So we are feeling definitely very welcome. I was going to say I'm very happy to see that AAM is finally here. That we have a huge amount of exhibitors and displays, mock-ups of aircraft that are going to be flying soon. So it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of more of when.
Yes.
We are part of that. Of that, creating that reality. And so we're very excited that we can actually now see these aircraft in service in the next couple of years as we move through certification. So I'm very excited to see all this and it become a reality.
Well, you know, this morning at the keynote, we had the deputy administrator of the FAA, we had the NTSB lead or director. We also heard from Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf from the stage, as well as, God, what was his name? The guy that was like
Rook.
Rook. That's his call sign.
Yeah.
He won an achievement award here,
Yes.
the highest award they give. I mean, this guy started, creating businesses when he was 16 years old. He's a multi-billionaire. Was created the Inspire 4 flight with SpaceX, amongst other things. I mean, I'm not going to give you his whole bio, but you've seen some of this content, I presume, like, oh, and seen kind of what's out here. Like, what have you heard or seen that makes you really excited?
Well, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurship in the space where a lot of people are trying to do things that are good for mankind, that are going to improve people's lives.
Yes.
And that's where I think AM comes into play, where we are actually trying to solve some problems. We're actually trying to solve traffic congestion.
Yes.
And you know our goal at Overair is actually being able to connect people. That is
Yes.
what our founder Ben Tigner, when he founded the company together with our other founder Abe Karam, created the company, was how do you get people together? How do you actually reduce the distance between people? And having that urban air mobility solution that enables people to be connected is certainly the way that we want to solve that.
And in a sustainable way. So that's one thing. I'm going to show you something. Let me see if my camera will focus on it. All right, I'm going to stay still. Okay, it says climbing fast. Climbing fast. So NBAA announced their new campaign called Climbing Fast. It's all about sustainability, in particular sustainable aviation fuels, but also workforce development, and basically being zero carbon emissions in short order. And that's, I think, where AAM really makes a difference as one piece of many to help in those goals.
So we're certainly pursuing that goal. I mean, we are a zero emissions, fully electric vehicle that is aiming to, in a way, decarbonize that form of transportation. And so as we scale in our industry, that is going to certainly start moving the needle when it comes to decarbonizing flights. The other part that is very important is that the FAA and the people that were in the panels will also have a very strong agenda of sustainability.
Yep.
And so we have a lot of very strong support from the organizations such as the FAA, where we participate very, very heavily to make sure that we all go in as a group, even collaborating with some of the other OEMs, because we believe that jointly is how we're going to make this a safe and sustainable industry.
Absolutely. By the way, we've got a lot of folks jumping in the chat. Bill Daggett is out there live from North Dakota. Sorry I missed you also last week, Bill. They had a great UAS summit out there. How about a website for those that aren't local? Great question. I would say go to the NBAA website, look under events, look up BACE, see what they've got there. I don't know when they're going to be pushing out the content like Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf's keynote as an example. I imagine that will be available, but check that website out. And let's see what
And
else.
talking about websites, we
Yeah.
just have our new website.
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
just
Tell us how
actually
to reach you.
We just launched our new website.
Yeah.
www.overair.com. We have a great new featuring videos and different use cases that we have on our website.
Yeah.
So
Well, absolutely
it's
check that out.
Looking very cool. I hope everybody checks it out because
I'm going to after this now. And if I was multi-talented and I could multitask, I would actually type that in the chat, but it would be too distracting for me right now. But what I want to do though is thank you and give you a little gift. By the way, here's my Law Tech Connect shameless plug. AUVSI Exponential, San Diego 2024, April 22nd. Having an AAM panel. I'm hoping you're going to join us. So we'll talk more later. So great to meet you.
I'll be at an AAM panel later tomorrow, 2:30. There's the eVTOL scaling.
Awesome.
So stay tuned to that one. And also, we have some very exciting news coming up in the next couple of days and weeks where we are making some good announcements. So stay tuned. We actually just announced today a new kind of partnership we're doing in Korea. So
awesome.
Check that one out.
All right. Well, good. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Next up is Mary Caitlin Ray. Mary Caitlin is a great friend of this show and others. She is an attorney at Kroll Mooring and, by the way, a former FAA counsel, and just randomly ran into you here. Yeah. Okay, so this is not my world normally, but this is your world. I was like, what are you doing here? You do drone stuff. She's like, no, actually, I do a lot in business aviation as well. So tell them a little bit about yourself and what you're doing here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dawn. My name is Mary Caitlin Ray. I'm a senior counsel at a law firm called Kroll Mooring in Washington, D.C. I'm primarily a business aviation attorney, but I came over to Kroll from the FAA, where I led the UAS integration pilot program. And so I carried kind of that part of my FAA experience with me to the private sector, and I still do a fair amount of drone work, eVTOL, emerging technologies, AIM, those kinds of issues, and more I am seeing my worlds colliding and converging, which I love.
And that was going to be my question, actually, because you've been involved in this community for so long, and you've been to this show before. What is different this year, in your opinion, than what you've seen in previous years, even last year?
What I am seeing as different is that the business aviation community and the drone and AIM communities seem to be more actively talking to each other. I think back to a couple years ago, I gave a talk at the Isle of Man Aviation Conference. It's primarily a business aviation conference dealing with registry issues and export of business aircraft. But I was asked to give kind of a fireside chat speech about the use of drones for business aviation, and why should corporate flight departments care? Why should corporations care? And I gave this talk, and I found that there was a lot of interest, and I was really glad to see that.
What do they want to? What was the interest? In other words, what is the BA community using drones for, or what do they care about?
So I think really a lot of what they care about are, not only expanding the functionality and the benefits that are provided by their flight departments. Corporations are, needing to prove that it's important for them to have a flight department. That's a benefit to the business. And incorporating the use of drones into a corporate flight department kind of only adds to the benefit that a flight department can provide. And that's really what folks were interested in. They were also, I'm an attorney, so they were obviously also interested in the risk, regulatory risk, insurance risk, and just best practices, which I was really happy to see. Because since my time at the FAA, one of the biggest challenges I've found with integrating drone operations into the NAS with traditional manned aviation is that there was kind of this sense that they were almost they came from two different worlds, right? Two different safety cultures. And the FAA is very, safety culture oriented.
Yeah.
They like to know who they're dealing with. They like to know that everyone's on the same page. And so from the earliest days, that was a big challenge. But now that I'm seeing more and more drone operators and manufacturers at these types of events side by side with business aviation,
This booth being one example of others. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It seems that there is a lot more interest in collaboration, which I love to see.
I love to see it too, because honestly, this is only going to work when we do it together, right? As a community. So, all right. So hopefully, you're going to be at my Law Tech Connect again next year. Mary Caitlin has been involved the last 2 years. Kroll was a bronze sponsor last year of that, and you were on which panel?
Beyond Visual Line of Sight.
And did I stream that yet? I did. We did it?
We did.
All right.
Actually.
So stay tuned. Check out my website. I'll be announcing what's coming up next month. We are streaming essentially the commercial drones in war, commercial off-the-shelf drones on the Battlefield 1 next Tuesday. So check that out as well. But we'll get to hers soon if we haven't done that. And so what else? What do you want to leave folks with here?
I just love seeing people learning from each other. Ask questions, even if you think that one person or entity's operation might not have a lot in common with your own or what you're planning. This industry is all about learning from one another and sharing information.
Yeah.
And making operations better and safer.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I went to the media breakfast this morning for Climbing Fast, right? So they had a panel and talking all about it. And they're using these words from the stage. And I'm like, what? Like, for example, they've mentioned GNSS and some terrestrial system that was going to interfere that, by the way, I wrote multiple articles about for Inside GNSS. I'm like, look, they're talking about this from the stage. They're talking about advanced air mobility and drones and sustainable hydrogen. Hydrogen. So I emailed my friend Danielle McLean from High Sky and like, hey, you need to be here next year. So we'll keep growing it. We'll keep the community growing and the collaboration going. But thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
And so awesome running into you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. All right, we've got Robotic Skies up next. So Robotic Skies also has a booth here. And we have got Josh here. Josh, tell them a little about who you are and what Robotic Skies is.
Yeah. So my name is Josh Natras. I'm the VP of Operations for Robotic Skies. Robotic Skies is a maintenance marketplace. So we have the ability to maintain sub 55-pound aircraft, so UAS aircraft, and then all the way up to, as advanced air mobility, urban air mobility starts to expand and receive regulatory approvals, will be really in the perfect opportunity to take on that. And we come from certificated aviation maintenance, so we understand the certificate requirements and different things like that they're going to have to go through, and we can help support that from a maintenance perspective.
Well, that's huge. Look, fun fact, I got my Part 107 pilot license, and they're like, do these checks and everything like that. I'm not a trained maintainer.
Yeah.
I imagine a business like yours is highly relevant to people that have fleets, enterprise. Are you guys working with public safety as well?
Yeah, so absolutely. The industry really needs that safety and maintenance is always top priority for that. And
yeah.
For us, we cater to a fleet, to commercial enterprise aircraft, because that's really where you're going to have the highest risk factor for the operation they're performing. And for us, we really want to be able to make the industry safer, and we feel like from a maintenance perspective, being able to do that on a large scale is how we're going to kind of progress the industry and really make it so that the regulatory changes aren't because of a problem,
right,
but because of the right reasoning and to make the industry as safe as possible.
So you guys are in this emerging technologies section they created for the conference and the expo this year. I'm curious, given your background in maintaining other aircraft, what would you say is, and again, a big part of this conference is not only sustainability and safety, but also workforce development. From a workforce development standpoint, I can't imagine there's a lot of folks like you running around that kind of can understand general aviation, business aviation, drones, and then, right, advanced air mobility or electric vertical takeoff landing or other similar kind of advanced aviation aircraft.
Yeah.
What are the differences really, or the similarities, or maybe differences and similarities between all those different things that you guys bring to the table as maintainers?
Yeah. So it's funny, the current UAS aircraft out there. So I'm an airframe and power plant technician by trade. So I worked on aircraft for years, and it's funny how a helicopter that I worked on has a very similar or same avionics platform that a lot of these small UAS aircraft are utilizing. It's just smaller but same technology, things
Okay.
like that. So
All right.
it's funny how much that can help us from the certificated aviation side to the autonomous drones for delivery and energy inspections and different things like that. And
Okay.
and it really brings a different piece to the industry, kind of going back to what you're talking about there, that as electrification happens
Yes. Yeah.
within
That.
the industry,
Right.
we're going to need that knowledge of high voltage technology with what we already have from a technical expertise and things like that. And so
Okay.
it really is showing that things like this, going from your standard conventional aviation aircraft
Yep.
to the autonomous flight and the high technology from electricity and things like that is really gonna be evolving and constantly evolving. And so it's pretty exciting to see what's happening here, especially in the industry, all the new technology coming out, and we're really at the forefront of wanting to maintain that new technology and set those requirements for technical expertise and knowledge and training and things like that. So we're really excited about that.
Well, awesome. And speaking of excited, is this your first year here?
So we've been at NBAA before, but we haven't gone consistently every year. We've been here, a part of it, in the industry, but not exhibiting. And
Right.
and this is really we feel like the key point to get into the advanced air mobility market as it's starting to grow. We can offer a lot of our knowledge to the industry, and that's really what we want to get out there, especially with the technology getting closer and closer to regulatory requirements.
Well, awesome. All right. And two more questions.
Yeah.
One is, what are you excited to see while you're here?
I'm super excited to see kind of the aircraft that you always know kind of the bigger aircraft that are going to be here from autonomous flight, but there's always these smaller companies that are coming into things like this to kind of show off the technology that they're coming up with and the different things they're bringing to the industry. And it's exciting to see that here, and we get to see a lot of that because this is so big and such a great platform for all these aviation companies to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, how do people reach you? How do they find you, Robotic Skies?
Yeah, so Robotic Skies, roboticskies.com. You can go on our website. We are geared right now to a lot of sub 55-pound aircraft, and that's really just because we're doing a lot of that in the industry currently.
Yeah.
We are very much open-ended to take on whatever maintenance requirements you as a customer or as an OEM have. We're willing to consulting, different things like that from a regulatory standpoint. So whatever we can do to help out, roboticskies.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Josh Natras, and we would love to be able to chat, see how we can help with whatever your operation may be.
Well, awesome. I've got a little swag bag for you
Awesome.
here. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for being part of
You
the
have a good
show.
one. Thanks
Great
again,
to
Don.
meet you.
Yep.
All right. Hope to talk to you again. All right. And last but not least, when you think about safety, you got to think about insurance. And we've got Marsh McLaren. Am I saying that right? McLennan Agency, MMA, here with us. So introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you're doing.
Sure. Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Tiago Pereira. I work out of Fort Lauderdale. Marsh is a global company. We focus on all aspects of business in general, but aviation is a big focus as well. We spend a lot of time in any facet of aviation, from maintenance to 135, 141s, drones, pretty much anything that flies or has to do with aviation, we're in it.
All right. Well, very good. Because, people out there, they always have questions about insurance. And, are you involved or your company involved in any panels at this show?
So this show, we're actually having more of a private panels. We're meeting with different underwriters and kind of getting their feels for how the market's going to be going into 2024. A lot of it is also discussions about the different emerging markets, such as unmanned aircraft as well as
eVTOLs.
eVTOLs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ongoing conversations, but at this point, we're just having the private conversations.
Well, if they're private, maybe you can't share. But if you can share, what are some of the trends that you've seen just over this past year?
Sure. So the market it's getting better. I think it's getting better. I think there's a lot of conversation and there's a lot of checks and balances that need to be had. Many years ago, you could have a policy done, in a napkin, right? You can have a conversation and then you can get things done. But now there's a lot of underwriting that goes into it. And I think a conversation, getting to know your underwriter, having a personal relationship with them, having them understand your business, just to make sure that there's no, lapsing coverage, there's nothing that's missing. And also, sometimes you might not be thinking about a coverage that you actually have or an exposure that you actually have. So I think in today's market, it's very important to have a personal relationship, not only with your broker, but with your underwriter to make sure that everything is answered.
Well, absolutely. We heard from the stage this morning, safety is job one across the board. Everybody's concerned about it, whether it's the FAA, NBAA, NTSB. And a big part of that safety profile is not only understanding your risk, but also being prepared if something does unfortunately come to pass. And that's where insurance comes into play. So have you been at this show before?
Yes, this is my third show.
All right. So over the last three then, what's the arc that you've seen when it comes to business aviation and these emerging technologies? What have you seen change over time?
There's so much aviation, and this is the one thing that I love about aviation, is that there's so much innovation. There's so many new people coming into the industry. Technology is ever evolving. I mean, it's almost hard to keep up with. So just seeing how things have transformed from 2021 during the COVID era to now, it's fascinating. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but there's just so many different things that are going on, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Yeah. So how do people learn more about MMA?
So MMA, we're a global company, so you can look us up, you'll find us. But the aviation division for MMA, we work primarily in the middle market division. Marsh also has a bigger arm that they work on bigger, 121 operators. But us here at Marsh & McLennan Agency, we work a lot with either, folks that have one aircraft, one drone, all the way up to a fleet of 10, 15, and 20 on a 135 certificate. So if you have any questions, my name is Tiago Pereira, and doubt there's any other Tiagos in the aviation
THIAGO, by the way.
THIAGO.
Yeah.
So you'll be easy to find me. I'm based out of Fort Lauderdale, and my team is over in Overland Park, Kansas.
Well, awesome. And thank you so much. I'm reaching down. I want to give you a little swag bag here and gift for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Let's keep in touch and hope to hear more from MMA in the future, everybody. Thank you so much, Tiago. Have a great show. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up here. But before I did, I'm going to take a little risk here. I'm going to move my camera. I want to show you the USI booth, and you can see the drone they've got on display, which is pretty amazing. That's one of them. And then there's the other one, Census Technologies drone in the corner over there. And they've got a couple others, but whoa, okay, I'm being crazy. There's the show floor, everybody. You can see through the door. Lots going on over there. Tiago's like checking his phone. But, we are kind of, like I said, right in the heart of it here at NBAA BACE. Wanted to thank everybody that was on the show today. And, of course, USI for sponsoring this stream and for everybody else that joined in today. So thank you so much, everybody. We are out here.